All righty, go for it.
All right. I'm just going to get myself parked here, and if my signal changes, you let me know. But hopefully, this is a good spot. I'm going to stop right here. We still good?
Yes, you sound great.
Awesome. Well, welcome everybody. This is Patrick Durkin speaking, and I am on the road right now. And I'm in Virginia. I'm driving from Texas to Massachusetts. I thought I was going to be at a hotel by this hour, but with the time zone change, we slept an extra hour this morning, and we slept like 10 hours last night. And you just can't get an hour back once you lost it. So we got a little messed up this morning, but we're on the side of the road, and I guess this is just going to be the perfect place. We're after being in Lubbock, Texas for the last year or most of it, being next to trees in Virginia is quite a privilege. And this call is going to be a little bit unusual in that after we do the intro part of it, I'm going to actually drop off the call because Susie Byler, who's been here before, you guys all remember Susie, or those of you who've been here before remember Susie. Susie is going to lead an inner child healing process today. So Susie, I don't know if you want to say hi to everybody and tell people what you're doing, but I'd love that.
Hey, yeah, I'll introduce it when you after you and Jen share. I'll give more details.
Yeah. Okay. All right, great. That sounds great. So as will often happen, Jen, are you managing the background noise? There we go. As will often happen, stuff comes up for these calls, and there's things for us to talk about. And the thing that I wanted to bring to the table today, as Caroline and I have, joined together, and we're going on this road trip, and we're in a still very new relationship and getting to know one another and what comes up and how we deal with it. I wanted to talk about depersonalizing issues. And what I mean is, like, we all go through childhoods where we get our injuries and our traumas, and we take them personally, and we think, I have this wound or I have that wound, I think I'm unworthy, or I get upset about abandonment or betrayal, or any of these type of things. And we treat these issues like they're personal. It's like my wound, and it's something I have to overcome. And what I've discovered as I've really deeply engaged with these issues over time is that I've lost my interest in talking about them personally. And so Caroline and I have been experimenting with what does it look like to have an issue not be personal? What if it's just two beings looking at something from a perspective of what are our collective resources, what's being reflected here, and not so much it's mine or yours, but like, how do we discover what's going on here? And so I think that that's a real supportive way to look at things in that more depersonalized relationship. So taking it a little bit further, it's like, what if God just wants to have billions or infinite amounts of interactions about abandonment or about betrayal or about integrity, and you just happen to be a role player in that? And so what I find with this depersonalization is then, like, Caroline and I had a discussion about projection, and we were able to see in the conversation about projection that we have a pretty close shared definition to it. It was like, oh, like something came up and somebody projected, and somebody said, hey, that doesn't feel good. And it was like, we got to this understanding of, like, projecting on the other when one is triggered. It's like not how either one of us wants to be in the relationship, and we have like this shared understanding. So looked at from another perspective, it's like God put this issue of projection in these two people and let them work on it for a little bit, and then they came out with a shared understanding, and it moves forward. So I find it really fascinating that this issue of depersonalizing has come up on a day when Susie is going to lead a process around inner child work, which feels like the most personal. So, this came up kind of independently today in the car. So that's why I'm bringing it here. And I'm going to put it out there for discussion. And anybody, I think at this point, Jen, it's probably better if we, like, since you can see everybody and see what's going on, we kind of transfer the moderating from me to you, and you see if people want to either go forward on this topic or you lead on to the topic that you were gonna go with. So let me make space for that.
Sure. Does anybody here have anything they'd like to share related to what Patrick just brought up? Great. All right. Well, I'm going to go forward and talk about some insight that I had today. And it was amazing. It's about presence. And so it actually, Patrick, I realized it started on Friday when we were talking, and he was, I guess I would say, making fun of how I have an online notepad that was like 24 pages long of notes. And he was critiquing it, and I was like, I know this is what you're saying to me is a contribution, and I want to let you know that I feel like you're micromanaging me, and this is my notepad. And so the conversation started like that. But, I reflected on it over the weekend, and then I saw I had like 6,000 Gmail messages in my inbox. And I thought, wow, I need to do some cleaning up. So I've been cleaning up all of these notes and past messages and doing these completions. And then fast forward today, we were talking, and he's on the road. So, I asked him a question, and he heard me taking notes on the computer. And he said, I hear you taking notes. And like, I want to talk about that. And so we opened that dialogue. And again, I was annoyed, and, defended my note taking for a bit. And then I said, but I know there's something here, and it's like taking me out of presence. And, and I said, I don't really count on my memory so much. And I go from one thing to the next really fast. And, Patrick was like, well, Jen, you can stop me from talking. You can slow down the dialogue. And I was like, wow. And so that I got like, that's what's been missing is me coming into my power and having a presence rather than just receiving and taking notes. And it was really life transforming, you guys. So, yeah, it made a huge difference. I've cleaned up those notes. I stopped, I got present, and just really shared some thoughts that I had been avoiding. And so I get like that's I guess you could call it like an addiction, right? To not be in the present and to take notes about things. And so I think that this is really gonna open up some cool stuff for my life, and wanted to put that into this space today with you all.
That's awesome, Jen. I love the way, you could get triggered by it or annoyed by it and depersonalize it and mine it for the gift that's there. Mm. And I just feel like as people are so isolated right now, like what's missing is this community of people who love on one another, coming together and saying, I'm willing to engage with you as a mirror in finding out the truth of who I am. And if what that reveals is that I'm defensive, protective, not present, I project, I this, I that, I'm willing to have that come up and make a difference. And, for me, like being your friend and watching you today and seeing the power you feel in your life for the opportunity to, when we engage in meetings now, instead of being a compulsive note taker, you are, and I love that you type so fast and take notes so well, but it's still like this distraction from just talking things through with me. And then at the end of talking them through, like coming back and summarizing what's actually going to happen. What's the to-do from this? What's the actionable information? Like that feels so freeing. And I love witnessing that, for you to have that freedom now to be more present. So really, really cool.
Well, and that's the gift, because I feel like, years ago, we've been friends for so long, you would have said what you said in a very different way. And the way you communicated was with so much love that I was able to pause and like take it in and then move this whole thing forward. So thanks for everything you've done to adjust energies and communications. It's super cool.
Yeah, you're welcome. And for those that don't know, like as we were coming on the call today, we had a new person here, Lindy, and she was asking about like, what are we up to? And this is the perfect example of what we're up to. We're evolving together and understanding the way we are in a global world, and picking apart the things that keep us trapped and structures that we bought into that we didn't even know we bought into. Like we can't even see them. It's like a person who's been wearing glasses their whole life, just not even seeing the frames on their own face. And we're starting to distinguish those frames and saying, hey, I can put these down, or I can use my erase board and erase this, and I can build a new structure for myself, and I can open my heart more and connect with others more. It feels awesome. It feels really awesome. And it feels perfect that this is the discussion that opens up the front end of the session where we book Susie, because it's like, even with that openness and that intention, we've all got wounds. Every single one of us has got wounds, including Susie, including me, including Jan. Like there's no exceptions. So here's Susie to facilitate and support the unwinding of some of that, so we can actually, give this stuff a good shot at being present. So does anybody want to comment or question on this before we transition to Susie leading?
Desiree would like to.
So here's Desiree here. Jen, I just want to say, just like me, I experienced similar about a year ago. I did some leadership training, and it was all on Zoom online, and they told us that we were not allowed to take notes during the training. And so I'll say I'm a recovering note taker myself. and it was just so weird, like but then you realize the habit of, when someone says something and then just wanting to write it down, and you realize, and then part of what they explained was that you're not present. So I mean, you're just exactly what you were talking about. And once you start writing something down, you're in the past, because you're thinking about what was already said and not in that presence. And it's a habit that we can become aware of and let go of, and then really be present in the conversations. And then I thought it was great too that Patrick was saying you can ask me to slow down, So yeah, that's just really beautiful. And I just wanted to share that I can totally relate with what you're talking about.
Thank you so much. We'll be note takers anonymous group.
Right.
Awesome. Peggy had something to share. It's Kiko.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. I am a prolific note taker, and and actually, I learned very early on that the way I learned the fastest was to not just read, but take notes at the same time. So no matter what I'm doing, I take notes, and when I'm listening to these sorts of Zoom meetings or whatever, conferences, webinars, whatever, the notes seem to really connect me to what I mean. for some reason, I guess because I've practiced it from when I was very, very young, it really makes me present with what's being said right now. And it usually brings up like, I don't know, like it starts integrating the other knowledge that I have in my brain, so that lights start going off like crazy, like light bulbs, when you're going, aha, aha. And so I do this thing where, it's like an aha, and I'll write a bullet, and but mostly to anchor the aha moment, like, oh, okay, that was really enlightening. For me, my aha moments are enlightening moments, and so I was, as I progressed through the through the webinar, I'm at the moment, and then later on, I asked myself, how did that all start? What was it that brought me to the end point with them? And I was feeling so energized and so, oh wow, cleared and whatnot. And so that, that for me, the notes, it really takes me deep into my visual mind. The other thing I wanted to share was about, I come from an extremely, probably one of the top 10 dysfunctional families in the world. And my, my friends would always say, oh, dysfunctional, this, that, and the other. And I would say, or they would talk about family and dysfunction. And I would say, well, I thought family meant dysfunction. And, everybody laughs. Not really funny, because I, at this point, have 3 brothers who have all turned their backs on me and walked away. One of them recently, he had not talked to me in 10 years, came back to me in my life now, 2 years, these past 2 days. And pretty much he's just wanting me to pass on a message to my dad, the screw you message. And, and I said to him, why are you even still interacting with all that energy and all that happened in the past? I said, let it go. I said, you know what? Just be now. Just be like, like right now, if you're not happy, just think, what can I do right now that'll bring me happiness? I said, and kind of, it is what it is. I said, Mike, this is what I know out of all the experiences I've had in my life. Okay. And I'm in my 60s. I said, what I've noticed is that there is not a one of us that isn't in arrested development in one or more areas of our lives. Something big happened. It really, knocked us for a loop, and we got stuck. I don't know. I don't know all the places that I'm stuck. I know that I've got a lot of stuck places, but as I was scrolling through my emails, I happened by, I don't know, synchronicity to come up to the announcement to this particular Zoom meeting. And I thought, oh my God, what kind of coincidence is that? That, I'm thinking, geez, I wonder what dysfunctions I have within me. And so I'm just going to say that, yes, I've been doing this, stop looking back there, just leave it alone. It's like a dream that, that you woke up from, and you just move on. And, what can we do to bring us joy right now? But I'm really excited about what you guys are doing today, because I'm thinking, okay, maybe that wasn't the most efficient way to deal with all that in the past. So thank you very much. And yes, let's get rid of all these dysfunctions. And no, I'm not taking notes. I think this is just a do and just immerse yourself in the energies. And thank you, everybody.
The previous guys.
Thank you so
got
much,
2
Peggy.
batteries. I have 4 of these. You notice that
If you can mute yourselves, folks who are,
and then put in these.
there we go. Peggy, thanks so much for sharing all that. We're in for a huge treat in a little bit with Susie, who's gonna support us with this inner healing work.
I'm gonna jump in real quick because the energy started a couple minutes ago and it's so strong, and I'm wondering if I apologize, but it's really hard for me to contain it right now. I wonder if Kiko and Cher wouldn't mind waiting until after the process to share. Would that be okay with you, ladies? Okay, so sorry. It is just like full on, and I like, if it doesn't flow out, I'm not at the level where I've learned how to manage that. So I had a lot of things I was going to say, but that's not necessary. So, oh, you know what's weird is I don't think I can do my own recording.
Susie, I'm recording it and I can cut out the part that you would like. So I can.
Do you know how to pin a video?
Yeah, you are pinned right now.
I'm pinned. Okay. All right, great. That way we can maintain confidentiality of everyone because I'll reuse this. Okay. So just a reminder, anyone who's not muted, if you could mute yourselves, please. It just makes for a much more beautiful recording. You guys might want to go back and listen to this later and, be with this process again. So,
Susie, one moment. Patrick says goodbye. He's going to be leaving us right now.
Patrick. Okay, thank you for allowing me to jump in. So this is an upgraded inner child healing process. The ones that I've been doing before have gotten a recent upgrade. So we're going to do a few things today. We're going to work with the inner child, perhaps the inner infant, depending on what comes through for this group. And we're also going to activate your divine inner child. So the thing about inner children is that, we all have wounds, we all have a past, we all have a childhood, and somewhere in that childhood, unless your childhood was perfect, and none of ours was, there are wounds that you experience. Some of them were pretty significant. Maybe you were sexually abused, maybe your parents yelled at you or even hit you or whatever. And some of you had decent childhoods. And the wounds aren't as deep, but they are still always significant because they shape and they affect the way you experience life now. And so the idea of doing an inner child healing process is to go back and be the parent that your parent couldn't be for you. So we call in the divine feminine, the divine mother. We call in the divine masculine, the divine father, to help you integrate those aspects into yourself so that you can be the parent to your inner child and offer to your inner child whatever your parents didn't do for you. And then we're going to work with activating your inner child as the divine being that he or she is, because the truth is that when we came in, we were connected to source, we were connected to divinity, we've been programmed and indoctrinated out of that connection to some degree, different for everyone. But the idea is that we are divine beings and that inner child is divine. And I'll just share a little bit about my own story so you have some context of why that's so important to activate the divinity of the inner child. I have a 4.5-year-old that is pretty demanding. In the past, I have found her annoying and a little bit bitchy, and I just wanted to, just shut up and leave me alone. She was very, always demanding my attention, and it was a little bit much. And so when I shifted to this little girl is divine, she is a divine being who knows things. I had a huge shift and breakthrough in my own inner child healing. And I've been doing this for many years, and I've gone through inner infant healing and inner child healing and, the whole thing. I've taken myself through many iterations and many different ages of my inner children. So I'm not new to this, but the idea that my inner child is divine, that added on a whole new dimension. And so I'm going to incorporate that today. So what I invite you to do is to get in a comfortable position, and you might even want to lie down, and that's totally fine. And this is one instance where I would say it's okay to turn your video off, because you're each going to be present with yourself in your own process. So I just invite you to get comfortable, and we'll begin by closing our eyes and breathing deeply through our bellies, deep down into the body, anchoring into Mother Earth, allowing yourself to be grounded, allowing your energies to settle down into your body. Setting your intentions for whatever you want to heal with your inner child. Whether there was trauma in the womb, trauma during your birth, trauma during your childhood, your teenage years, or all of those things, setting your intention for what you would like to heal and integrate today. Breathing deeply through the belly. And as we begin, I will call forth the Divine Mother, Divine Father energies. And for you, this process will be guided and directed by your I Am presence. And so with your I Am presence, calling forth the Divine Mother, Divine Father to be integrated within you, so that you can parent your inner child. You don't even need to have a full understanding of what that means to integrate the Divine Father and the Divine Mother, but simply set your intentions as it feels right for you. And as you breathe in, just breathing in those energies of Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine, allowing them to activate your brain, to work with the right and left hemisphere of your brain and integrate those two hemispheres. Allowing those energies to move through your nervous system, bringing you into a calm, relaxed state. And now, bringing your presence to a time in your life where a wounding occurred. Again, whether it was in your childhood or in the womb or through the birth process itself. Something traumatic occurred that changed the way you experience life, that perhaps still affects you to this day. Whether you were 2 or 12 or 6 months in the womb, bring your presence and your energy to that time. And just gently recollect what occurred. And I invite you to get really close to that child or that infant and look in his or her eyes and feel what that being was feeling at that time. And make that connection. Really look into the eyes of your little girl, your little boy, and allow yourself to feel what she or what he was feeling. And now acknowledge this, reflect that back to him or her. I feel you. I see you. I acknowledge your pain and your trauma. I see you. And open your heart to this little being. And allow the divine Father and divine Mother energies to extend from your heart to your little girl or little boy. And begin by saying, I love you. I'm here for you. Yes, I feel you. I see your pain. I acknowledge what you've been through. And now this is where you're going to step in with the parent role and make some promises as you feel guided. Make some promises to your little boy, your little girl. You can say things like, I'm here for you now. I promise to stay with you. I promise I'll never abandon you. I promise you'll never be alone again. I'm so sorry you experienced all of this trauma and all of this pain, and I am here now to hold you through your pain. I am here to soothe you, to comfort you. And you can also call in your guides and your angels. Some of you have angels with you that help you out from time to time. You can call in your angelic presence to minister to your inner child. And if your inner child is receptive, and if it feels right for you, you can even pick them up and hold them in your arms or put them in your lap or hold their hands as you continue to look into their eyes. And allow the transfer of the divine Mother Father energy to move from your body into theirs so that they can begin to relax and be receptive to you. As you continue to share your heart with them, I'm here for you. I acknowledge your pain. I'm so sorry for what you went through. You don't have to go through that anymore because I am here to take care of you now. I will protect you. I will guard you. I will guide you. You are not alone anymore. You have an ally on your side. I am your mother. I am your father. I promise to take care of you. I promise to heal your wounds, to dry your tears, to hold you, to hug you, whatever you need. I will play with you. I'll tell you silly stories. I'll blow bubbles with you. I'll roll down a hill with you on the grassy knoll. Whatever you want to do, I am here for you. And now I invite you to continue to look into the eyes of your inner child and ask what they want from you. What do you want from me? What do you need from me? What can I give to you? What do you want from me? What do you need from me? What can I give to you? What would help to soothe your soul? What would help you to feel better? I promise to do the best I can. Continue to breathe deeply through your body, remaining grounded and connected to Mother Earth. We ask for the assistance of Mother Earth to support us in this process of healing and integration. Just allow yourself to sink into Mother Earth. Allow her to nurture and nourish you and your inner child. Now, based on what your inner child has told you that they want and need from you, I invite you to take a look at your current life and the way that your inner child wound has affected your current life. Maybe it affects your communication, your relationships. Maybe it affects you in your career. Maybe it affects you just in the way that you live your life or your reactivity. Instead of responding, you react to things. Just notice how that past wound of your inner child has affected your life. Because as you integrate your inner child, that's going to change. Your world is going to change. So we want to track a little bit. We want to track how you've been and how you're going to be changing in the next few months. Continuing to breathe deeply through your body, allowing and accepting all that you've observed during this process, all that you've felt during this process, and bringing your heart and your love to this process, to yourself, to your inner child. And once again, looking into the eyes of your inner child and just letting her or him know how much you love them. I love you, I love you, I love you. I promise to be here for you, whatever you need, whatever you desire. I'm listening. I'm listening to you now. I promise not to ignore you anymore. I'm hearing what you're saying to me. I'm hearing and understanding the pain that you've been in. And I receive you and I accept you just the way you are. You are perfect and you are divine. And I see your divinity. I see your wisdom. I see your connection with Source. And I honor the wisdom that you bring to me. And knowing now that I see your divinity and your wisdom, is there anything that you want to tell me about myself? What do you have to teach me? And allow the voice of your inner child to register. Allow it to be heard within your heart, within your spirit, within your mind, within your soul. Allow yourself to receive the messages of wisdom from your divine inner child. Activating now the wisdom and divinity of your inner child. Activating now the knowing of who you are that comes from when you came into this world. The connection that you had and have with Source, with truth, with light. The connection that you had and have with love. Activating this fully now to the degree that you are ready to integrate. Guided and directed by your I Am presence. Allowing this knowing to be activated within your DNA, within your cellular matrices. Allowing this activation to be illuminated within your nervous system, within the right and left hemispheres of your brain, within your reptilian brain. Allowing the light of your divine inner child to be woven within your body systems, your organs, your meridians, your chakras, your cellular matrices, your DNA. You are the wisdom, you are the light. And your divine inner child activates this within you now. The wisdom that she or he brings to you, allow that to be activated within your adult self. Remembering who you are, remembering the divine light that you are, remembering the source truth that you are. Receive the wisdom and the guidance of your divine inner child because he or she knows what you need now. He or she has been tuned in and tapped into you your entire life. He or she has been tracking your progress, your growth, and knows exactly what you need right now. Allow yourself to receive that wisdom through your heart, through your spirit, through your soul, through your mind, through your body. Allow that wisdom to come to the surface, to come into your remembering now. Take a deep breath, sinking into Mother Earth, feeling yourself grounded and connected. Allowing your soul light to be woven into the fabric of your being, integrating more and more of your divine inner child into your divine adult self. And looking into the eyes of your inner child once again, and just bring gratitude. Thank you for your divinity. Thank you for seeing me and watching over me. Thank you for the wisdom you have to share with me. And I promise I will receive you. I will continue to listen to you. I will continue to allow your wisdom to be activated within me. I am here. I am here for you. Whatever you need, whatever you desire, I promise to do my best to provide for you, to protect you, to receive you, to listen to you. I allow you to bring me wisdom. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Breathing deeply through your body. Allowing your new frequency to integrate. As you breathe, allow those breaths to be deep, deep in your body. Allowing the work that you have just done to integrate within your cellular matrices, your DNA, your body systems, your energy and auric field. Giving gratitude to your I Am Presence for guiding and directing this process. Giving gratitude to your inner child, your inner infant, your inner fetus, whatever applies to you, for bringing the wisdom and allowing the healing. Continuing to feel your connection with Mother Earth, the connection with your breath, and the connection with your inner child. And just slowly move your fingers and toes. Maybe roll your shoulders or your neck. And slowly coming back into physical presence, feeling your body, feeling yourself in your body. And if any aspect of you either left or fled the scene that's still meant to be a part of you, we gently invite that aspect to come back, integrated at a higher frequency to match your current experience. So thank you everyone for allowing me to facilitate for you today. And if anyone has any questions, or if anyone wants to share what you experience with the group, you are welcome to. Shara, why don't we begin with you since you had your hand up before? You are still muted. You're still muted. Can we get Shira unmuted somehow?
I'm working on it.
There we go.
Okay,
Beautiful.
third time's a charm. Thank you, Susie. What I wanted to share before, just to get it said, is Peggy, I'm so on the same page with you. Some of us are more oral, audio, visual. When I am taking notes while learning something, I have a kind of a photographic memory, and it really helps me remember it and integrate it and be present. And Patrick, I will join your Note Takers Anonymous and see if I can, if it's right for me to shift this. I'm really open to doing the work. Susie, that process was so deep for me, and it took, I've done so much inner child healing. I mean, I'm going to be 88 next week, I would hope so. And it took me to a new level. And if you remember when Robin Williams, I think it's anger management, who says it wasn't your fault, it wasn't your fault. And I told my inner child that I was back to the house that I lived in until I was 11. And 30 years ago, a very deep process realized there had been some kind of sexual abuse. And I've never seen the whole thing. I'm not sure if I need to. And I'm pretty sure that it was one of the 7 brothers of the man my mother was married to, because I've been told that one of my uncles is my birth father. And I'd never considered, could it be him? Somehow I would like to know which one it is. But the main thing is, I said to little Margie, it wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. And it brought very deep sobs. And that's how I know that another level of healing was accessed. And you have my deepest gratitude.
Oh, Shira, thank you so much for receiving. Thank you for doing the inner work. One of my greatest, the thing that's a gift to me is when someone says, I'm this age and I'm still doing the work and you helped me. Thank you so much for that. That makes my day. I mean, uh, it's cool when a 30-year-old does some work and has a breakthrough. And I don't know, there's just something special to me when one of my elders has an experience from my work. That just means so much. So thank you. Thank you so much. Is there anyone else that has any questions or would like to share? Mindy, go ahead.
I've done some birth work before because I was born premature in an incubator and then in a foster home till I was 8 months old. So I've been trying to get back to that and have done quite a bit there, but the divine masculine and feminine coming in around the process to start with, I was already saying, I'm so sorry, this was harder than we thought it was going to be, and did that kind of work. And so it felt like a really great next step. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you for receiving. So beautiful. Anyone else? Peggy.
Hi, I just wanted to ask a question. I've had this happen many times before when I've been doing things like this, where I will fall asleep, and yet when you said, let us come back, let us wiggle our fingers and our toes, I was immediately very aware, moving my fingers and my toes. But it got to a certain point where you took us back, and you were then bringing the parenting in, and somewhere in there I went somewhere else. And it has been a very frustrating thing for me. My childhood, I have to now well, not now, but I've had to come to terms with the fact that my childhood affected me very, 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 very strongly. Right now I am homeless and I'm actually an accountant, but even since 9/11, nobody wanting to give me work, and I'm not proud. I'm willing to work anywhere, do anything. People say take lesser jobs. I'm more than willing, but people are too busy telling me I'm overqualified. And so for me, I keep feeling that I'm in the wrong place. I've been in the wrong place. I also have this other situation where absolutely um, chiropractors, even energy workers, just cannot adjust my spine and straighten my spine or get it in alignment. And one particular person told me that it had to do with something that happened in my childhood. They asked me if I could remember, I think I've been, so long trying to just say, forget about it. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to look back there. Let me just try and stay in the now. Let me, be present right now. And let me, try to move forward from here. But you said that we could go back and listen to this video. Um, uh, if you would, before you leave, tell us how to access the video, because I think that I would really like to. Okay, now I'm not going to get any more. I'm not going to get as comfortable as I did before. I think I just want to really.
Yeah.
I want to be more present while you're talking us through this. But
I think Jen sends out a replay link
okay,
each week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so keep your eye out for that.
And you
okay,
can always send an email. I just put the email in the chat and I can send it
okay.
that way too.
And then Susie, how do we best look at the situation if we did fall asleep?
Yeah, so
Um,
a lot of times when that happens, it's because you're processing it on the subconscious level, and it may be too painful or too traumatic for the conscious part of you to work with the information of what you experienced. So just because you don't remember it consciously doesn't mean that you're not healing.
okay,
And I really would suggest that you go back and work with this several times. Uh, See, it's tricky because sometimes when it's that, if this is what it is, if it's true that what you experienced was too traumatic to remember it consciously, it is helpful to have a guide, someone that can help you through that as you start to bring it into your conscious awareness. And if that's not a resource that you have available to you right now, then I would suggest you really call in your guides, your angels, your galactic family, whoever you feel connected to help you through this. Because if you're going somewhere else, if you're falling asleep, that's usually because the conscious part of you isn't ready or equipped to deal with the information. So I don't mean to scare you in any way.
no,
Everything's healable. You can integrate anything. But just, from my experience facilitating healing, it's kind of something to be aware of. Does that make sense?
yes, it does. And yeah, I'm just now experiencing the emotions coming up, and but I can't tell you what it's connected to. I think just maybe relieved a little bit that yeah, hopefully my subconscious is involving itself and
Absolutely.
eventually taking me to that place where I can do this, wide awake and present and saying, okay, I'm good with this.
And you
I
don't
know that.
necessarily need to remember everything. And that's
No,
not totally necessary in healing.
okay,
Sometimes
good.
sometimes maybe it's even better if not everything is remembered. So the important thing is to just let yourself feel what you're feeling right now. Let those emotions move through you. Don't use your mind to try to force and conjure up a memory. If
Right.
it comes to you, that's fine. If it doesn't, that's also fine. Just let it ride. It'll, the I am presence is a very wise presence that you have with you. Let that guide and direct you. And there's no need to force anything.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate
It's
that.
happening. Thank you, Peggy. Thanks for being vulnerable with us. That was so beautiful. Does anyone else have a question or a comment? And thank you for everyone who's putting in the chat your experiences and your gratitude. I appreciate that. Anyone else want to share? Or ask a question? All right. Well,
I'll share one thing, Susie. This is so powerful. Thank you so much. And I got present to the contribution that this exercise was, not just for me, but for my daughter. And my daughter's 8 and she's so beautiful. And I've just really been getting lately how all this inner healing work is so intertwined with her, and her new future. And I just want to thank you for offering that to her and her kids and their kids.
Thank you, Jen. That really means a lot. I deeply appreciate that. I love the ripple effect. So I'm a big fan of the ripple effect. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, I can feel your daughter. She's very powerful and sweet too. So yeah. Paulette, you have your hand raised.
Hi. I have a question about because at the beginning when we were feeling like where we wanted to go, I had an urge to go in utero or during the birth process, but I have no reference to know what it was like or what happened, or my mom said a couple things, but so when we're going into our inner child and we can remember specific instances, that's what I ended up working on, because I was well, I have no reference. I don't know what I'm thinking of. How can, or if your parents aren't around, or if they don't want to talk about it, or if you don't have connect, how can you access that in utero experience and the birth experience, or even the first years of your life that you don't really recollect?
It's a little bit analogous to what Peggy was saying. She doesn't have a recollection of what happened. If you were drawn to going in utero, chances are there was something significant that happened there, and you don't need to know the details, but the same process applies. You're bringing the divine mother father energy to the fetus. You're bringing your love and your heart to your fetus. You're bringing your listening. Maybe your fetus has a message for you. And when you can get quiet enough to listen and hear what she has to say, you might get something really profound. So it's the same process. You just might not have as much mental energy around it because the conscious remembering isn't there. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thanks for asking. That was a great question. Shira.
I may chime in again. I'd like to share a couple of things from my very long trajectory of inner child healing. A landmark experience was reading Richard Bach's Running from Safety, where he describes how when he let little Dickie out of the closet, he came out with machine guns and flamethrowers, and why he kept me locked in here. And I used a technique of inviting little Margie to speak to me with my dominant hand, writing with a marker, which is what she chose, and I wrote with a pen. And the first thing she wrote was without flamethrowers and machine guns, but it was oh, it's about time you let me out, and you think you know everything and you don't know shit, except she didn't use bad language, but I do when I'm doing inner healing. And the dialogue, which I didn't look at until I was finished, was so rich and so revealing. And this writing with the non-dominant hand was just such a useful tool for me that I wanted to share it in case anybody wanted to pick up on it.
Beautiful. So using your non-dominant hand brought out your subconscious. Is that what you felt?
Yes, it gave my inner child a voice in writing. And as I say, I'm visual. And when you write something down from a deep place and then you go and read it, you can't deny it because there's some truth in there. There's something useful and a lesson.
Perfect. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Great tip. All right. Anyone else has any questions or comments? So I feel guided to share a little something. When I asked my little 4.5-year-old if there was anything she wanted to tell me, she said, "It's okay to have what you want. It's okay to ask for what you want. It's okay to command what you want." And so I share that not just for myself, but it feels like there are maybe a few other people here that need to hear that message. So moving forward after this process, one of the things I suggest is to go back and work with this, more than once. And maybe the next time you work with a different age of your inner child, or if you felt incomplete with the age of the inner child you worked with today, maybe, do that again. This is a journey. This is not necessarily like once and done and everything's good. This is a journey that, we have different wounds at different ages. And so you can go back and work with this process over and over. I also suggest that you hydrate, drink your structured water, and get out into nature if you can. The part where I brought in Mother Earth and had her hold and nourish us is important because that is a resource that we have available to us for free, and she wants to support us. So get out into nature, put your feet on the ground, hug a tree, put your body on the ground, get close to her, let her nourish you, let her nurture you, let Mother Earth take care of you. And she's a great way to assist you in activating your divine feminine and divine masculine, the divine mother, father energies. She can really help you with that. So if you have the ability to get this recording and take it out into nature, that's even better because being with Mother Earth will help you activate the divine mother, father aspects. So thank you again for allowing me to facilitate for you today. I appreciate all of you. Thanks for receiving the healing. Thanks for working with it. And hope to see you guys again.
Thank you, Susie.
Thank you so much, Susie.
Yeah, thank you.